everyone, I'm Becky,
And I'm Sarah.
and we're doing Bickering Book Reviews. Today we are talking about Breathless by Jennifer Niven. Is it Niven or Niven?
I thought it was Niven, but
Niven? I think there was a British actor and it was Niven spelled the same way, but I apologize if I said it wrong. This book's called Breathless, and I got it off of NetGalley.
same.
So this book is about Claudine Henry, who is just finishing her senior year of high school, and she's got all these plans for this awesome summer. She's going to hang out with her best friend. They're going to road trip. They're going to have this nice little life, this nice little adventure before she goes away to Columbia. But then, the week before graduation, her father comes and tells her, "Guess what? I'm leaving your mother. This isn't working for me, and we're just basically going to destroy it. The family's no more." And I say it like that because that was the way it was expressed in the book. He didn't want to have a family anymore. So Claudine is very upset. Her mother was an author, and they decided to go stay on her. They don't decide. Her mother tells her, "We're going to go stay on this tiny little island off the coast of Georgia." So she goes to this tiny little island off the coast of Georgia. And it's hot and it's muggy, and she's not really enjoying it, and she doesn't have any cell service, and there was a boy back home that she really had a crush on, and something had started to happen, and her best friend she couldn't get in touch with, and she meets this boy named Jeremiah who works for the Park Service in an Outward Bound program, and they start spending time together, and they kind of develop this feelings and this relationship, and it's basically about this summer together with Jeremiah, while she's also coming to terms with the fact that the family she knew and the home she always knew is gone. And that's basically. So I thought, reading the description and the cover, I'm like, this is a book I'm gonna love. I didn't.
Yeah,
I had a hard time with this book. There were times that it felt almost like a chore. And there were parts of it that I liked, but the problem for me was you're in Claudine's head, and I didn't like being there.
So I think it was confused. Her voice was confusing because there would be times when she'd have the Lizzie McGuire moment where she'd be having these these scenarios where she's working through things in her head, but it's not actually happening. But you don't know that until it's over, and so it's very confusing to know she is the most reliable narrator.
So when the dad comes to tell her that he's divorcing her mother, it's a whole page of him saying things like, "I don't really love you anymore," and "I don't want to be a family anymore," and "This is just too much of a burden." And then she's like, "But that's not what he actually said." And so the whole book has stuff like that, and I was just like,
and you don't know what is actually happening,
right? And
but then also it's not just that part of her voice, but the other part of her voice that is problematic is she comes across as much younger than what she is. It felt very similar to a My First Period book, but it also felt like an adult writer trying to write youth flashbacks within an adult book, and they just work.
It felt, yeah, the narrative voice didn't work. Well, and I liked the fact, at the beginning of the book, she's talking to her friends, and she's talking about losing her virginity, and they talk a lot about her sexuality, and I liked that, and I liked the fact that she explored her sexuality. But I didn't particularly so she gets involved with Jeremiah, and I feel like they interacted 3 or 4 times, and there was nothing particularly deep there, and then all of a sudden but I love him. And I was just...
It felt like one of those books where the teacher says, "You don't feel enough. Your art can't be deep enough because you don't feel enough." And so then they decide that they have to kiss all these boys or have sex with all these guys in order to feel anything. And I'm over those kind of books.
I mean, there really was only the one relationship, but
However, I appreciate the fact that they included the consent. They asked for consent for everything, which I think is something that does need to be more normalized within YA fiction. So I did appreciate that. I just
I don't really have a lot to say because it's almost 400 pages long, and I feel like there wasn't a lot of story. So, and they're on this island off the coast of Atlanta. They don't have cell phones, it's like this muggy island. There are all these different kinds of animals that live there. It's these people at like basically like this resort or in the park, and it's like this really cool setting. And it was kind of like if Jen Bennett had that setting, it would have been amazing. And it was kind of she was like, "Yeah, we're here."
I'm just thinking about if the author who wrote When Elephants Fly
Hmm.
had this story, like she would have knocked it out of the park.
It's what's her first name? Because it's Fisher Richardson, right? Suzanne? I can't remember.
Tag her because her books are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
but yeah, she would have really like knocked that out of the because she's great at like combining the natural world with plot.
but I remember like I went to read this on my break and I was like, I really don't want to, so I instead played word cookies. And that's not good. Like I should want to read your book.
Yeah.
I really don't have anything else to say. Like, but like it wasn't particularly bad, but it wasn't particularly engaging. The characters weren't particularly great. The story was okay. Like there, and the thing is, like this is like the stuff of Sarah Dessen books. You know, the family
Yeah.
broke up, and there's a possible romance, and there's a connection, and there are family issues. This should have been like Becky Crack, and instead I was just like, eh.
Well, then there was like the addition of the history of the island that kind of was there but wasn't really like integrated well.
That's again the setting just got ignored. So we should rate it because we really don't have anything else to say.
Okay.
Our rating system starts at the top with 5 unicorns. We go down to 2 unicorns. If we don't like it, it's a horse.
I'm at 2 unicorns. I think the narrative voice was severely problematic for me, but I think also you bringing up the issues with setting reminds me of that, so I have to give it a 2. So it's 2 unicorns for me.
I gave it a 3 on Goodreads, but like I finished this book 3 days ago and I don't really remember it very well. I wasn't moved by it. I didn't connect with the character. This is apparently a very personal story for the author, and I don't see that. So I'm going with the 2.
Oh, I feel bad.
Yeah, there was a note in the beginning of the arc about that, but so that is where we are on
I don't
Breathless.
read those, and I need to, and I just don't. I'm sorry. I'll get better at that.
So that's where we are on Breathless, and we'll see you around.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.